Hey everybody, this is Dr. Tim. It's where health meets policy, and we explore how everyday people in Indiana and beyond are taking back the systems that shape their lives. So, what we're talking about today, you don't need a prescription for, you don't need insurance for, you just need two wheels and a little space to move. So, we're talking about bicycling. It's not as a toy, not as a hobby, but one of the most powerful tools we have for better health, stronger communities, in America here in Southern Indiana and in rural America as well. So I'm Dr. Tim. I prescribe medications every day. Statins for cholesterol, insulin for diabetes, aspirin for heart health. And what I want to talk about before we get into today's show is many of the outcomes we're treating could have been prevented long ago and long before anyone walks into my emergency department. And we can do this, yes, with medicines, but we can also do this with other interventions that we have right in our own homes. And in medicine, we use this concept called NNT, or number needed to treat. And it says how many people need to receive a treatment to prevent one bad outcome from happening. So statins, the medications we give for high cholesterol, you need to give about 100 to 250 people, depending on the study, to prevent one death from that. Pretty good. For aspirin, you need 300 people to prevent one heart attack, taking aspirin regularly, one heart attack or stroke. And for cycling, it's about 80 people riding regularly can prevent one case of deadly heart disease. And 7 people with pre-diabetes, if you put them on a bike and they lose about 10 pounds, which cycling can get you there pretty quickly, we prevent one case of diabetes. So that's not just lifestyle advice, that's kind of clinical grade prevention, if you want to think about it that way. And rural communities where we all live have some of the highest rates of preventable illnesses. They have fewer gyms, they have no sidewalks, and so this kind of thing matters even more, and cycling gives people a way to take back control of their health. So good news is we can change that. There are federal programs already in place that our state, our local government can take advantage of, and get money in to change our streets, to be able to put rideways in for schools. And together, we're going to today hear about 2 people who live biking every day. So first time, long time rider from Southern Indiana Wheelmen. And then we'll have a police officer who patrols by bike, talking about his job and what it means for the community. So starting out now, we have John Nectar, who has been with the Southern Indiana Wheelmen for many a year. It's a 50-year organization. John, nice to meet you. Please tell us your story. Tell us how you got into biking. But before you do, let's start with the Southern Indiana Wheelmen. What is that?
Okay, Southern Indiana Wheelmen, like Dr. Tim said, is a 50-year-old organization. It's a bike club that's based in Southern Indiana, Floyd, Clark, Harrison counties, uh, pretty much areas we ride in. But we, also do Scott County, Washington County, Orange County, but pretty much the surrounding counties of around New Albany, Jeffersonville, etc. We've got about 200 members, 30 to 50 active. By active means these people show up daily or weekly for scheduled rides. We have a complete list of local rides on our website, and I may have to do a shameless plug here and give you the website. Uh,
As
but
for those listening, it's SI as in Southern Indiana Wheelmen, MEN
MEN.org.
.org.
Uh,
SI Wheelman.org.
if you go to the site, and on the left side there's a list of routes, and they're all free. You can download them either with a what they call a Q sheet, which is a printed sheet, or ride with GPS, and you can put that in your bicycle computer or your phone, depending on what you have. Um, and
Wait,
if you ride
bicycle
with a
computer.
group,
What's a
you really don't
bicycle?
need the maps. But say you're at a different pace, or you want to go faster than them, or you want to just ride with some friends on your own, the routes are there, and they're free, so you can't beat the price. We just
Got it.
want to encourage people to get out and ride.
So, John, you just use the word bicycle computer. We're talking about bicycles. We see people in Lycra and in fancy, $1,000, $2,000 bicycles. That seems a little intimidating for someone who's not been on a bike before. Do you need all that stuff? How do you get started?
Well, probably one of the most economical ways to do it is to find someone you know that rides, has a bike they're not using anymore, whether they've upgraded to a newer bike or just got busy with family and are not riding anymore. If you do get a borrow a bike or someone gives you a bike, take it to a local bike shop. There are several good ones in Southern Indiana, and get it checked out. Make sure the tires are good, the brakes are good,
Mhm.
and even before you get on the bike, go out and buy a helmet. You don't need to have all the lycra clothing and the wicking material and the fancy shoes, but you do need a helmet because helmets save lives. And you may think, well, I'll be careful. Well, yeah, you may be, but there's sticks, rocks, dogs, and just not paying attention, and you might go down. A helmet can and will save your life. But bicycles today, uh, they can range in price from several hundred to several thousand. Um, I tell people, don't buy the cheapest bike you can get because you're going to ride it for 6 months and you're going to turn around and buy a more expensive bike. And you've already spent more than you want to, then you've doubled it to get what you need. So again, go if you can't find a used one or borrow one, go to a local bike shop and talk to them. Obviously, they're in the business to sell bicycles, but they want you to have what you need.
Yep.
Yeah, you can go to some of the big box stores and buy a bike, but I question if that's really a good investment for you because the higher end bicycles uh, are going to be more user friendly, easier to service, and probably more durable.
Got it.
Uh,
Great. So when you come and I'm starting off. I don't own a bike right now. So you're saying find a friend that does. Can the wheelman help me with this if I want to get into biking some way to recommend, or how can we utilize this group of what seems like 200 riders and all their families as well are involved in this group trying to evangelize bicycling?
well, I think what most of them would do is send you to a bike shop because if you have 20 people together, you can have 20 different opinions.
Hmm.
Um, but if you go to a bike shop, obviously they're going to want to sell you a bike, but they're going to sell you what you want. Talk to the bicyclist. Look at what they've got. Look at the brand, the style. Uh, just get a general idea of what's out there. You
Sure.
could show up at any one of our rides with no intent of riding, but to talk to people. And I know these people, and they'll probably talk your ears off and tell
Yeah.
you more than you want to hear. But it's a good source of information. Um,
Sure.
that's
So
one good way.
we're gonna address some of the comments coming in as well, but where I'd like to start is, can you tell us how you got into bicycling and kind of your story around that, as we think about our own journeys?
Well, I've been bicycling since I was 16. Um, Matter of fact, I was bicycling. My dad was wondering why I didn't want to drive. I said, I really don't need to. I've got a bike. I can get anywhere I want to get to. But I eventually learned how to drive, and a million miles later, here I am. But I've been riding since I was 16. I've ridden all over Southern Indiana, Northern Kentucky, Western Kentucky. Uh, uh, One of the bigger rides I did is called Rain, and that's right across Indiana. You start up at Terre Haute and you go over to Richmond. It's 160 miles one day, one way.
Hmm.
Um, that's a it's a good ride.
That's a big ride. That's a
But
big ride.
I've just enjoyed the freedom and being outside. It's kept me healthy. It's helped me keep my weight off. I suffer from hypertension and take medications, but I feel that the cycling helps me a great deal.
Hmm. Hmm. Very cool. So bicycling, you're talking about 160 bi- uh, mile bicycle rides. There's also paths around here in southern Indiana, the Monon. Can you use that new path that we have that's been connected through southern Indiana here for bicycling, or is that just for hiking and walking?
Well, first of all, I have the potential of talking your ears off on the South Mountain Trail. Um, this has been a dream for local cyclists for years. We would ride by the abandoned railroad tracks and think, man, this is such a good rails to trails setup. And Governor Holcomb saw the potential. He was previous governor of Indiana. He got a committee going, studied it, and shortly after he announced he was going to do it, they started doing it. And all the local cyclists were blown away with the speed at which they were working. When it's finished, you'll be able to go from metropolitan Louisville, downtown New Albany, to Mitchell, Indiana. Uh, right now, the plan is to have 57 miles eventually paved.
Hmm.
Right now, they've got 20 miles of it that's either paved or gravel, and actually they call it crushed aggregate. They take limestone, they put it down, and compress the daylights out of it, so you can ride on it with a bicycle with the right tires. You have to have, from talking to people, at least 32 millimeter wide tires. Uh, my bikes are set up at 28 and 25 millimeters, which is a little bit too thin for the crushed aggregate. I can ride on it, but I'm not real comfortable.
Okay.
If I had wider tires, it'd be more comfortable. Matter of fact, if you look at our schedule, which is also available online, you'll see that we have a couple rides out of New Pekin that do about 20 miles on it. 10 miles out, or 5 miles out one way, 5 miles out the other and back, adds up to 20 miles.
Got
And
it.
then they eat at a local restaurant. So already, the South Mountain Trail is bringing business to little communities like Borden, New Pekin, Salem, on up to Mitchell.
Sure.
Um, Unfortunately, a lot of these towns, the major industries have left, and of course, the railroad is long gone. But you start bringing bicycles in the area, and the phrase "if you build it, they will come" kicks in immediately.
Hmm.
I know from up in Ohio, they have the Miami Trail, and we have people from Southern Indiana. They'll drive up there, spend a night, and ride it for a week. And of course, they're going to have food and lodging, and they're basically just pumping money into local communities.
Hmm.
When the South Mountain Trail is finished, I see nothing but pluses. Local bed and breakfast are going to start catering to cycling because, yeah, people will travel all the way across the country for a good bike ride.
Hmm.
Uh, Stay in New Albany, uh, ride, 30 miles up, 30 miles back. You got 60 miles in. Uh, the more hardcore people, like myself and my friends, we would start out in New Albany, go up to Mitchell, have lunch, and come back. Round trip 110 miles,
Hmm.
but it's flat. It's an old railroad track. You don't have any major hills. Yeah, you've got some intersections you have to go through, but just take it easy. Wait
Sure.
for the light. Be patient,
So
and
it's accessible. It's easy for those who are beginners, but also can be challenging with a 110 mile trip for those who are more advanced. And it sounds like where this is going is perhaps some sort of race or organized event at some point that can attract people around the country to come here to Southern Indiana.
uh, I would not be surprised. I mean, you've got a great area. I've ridden probably 10 miles of it with my road bike. You need what they call a gravel bike for the crushed aggregate, the bigger tires. And it's just fantastic. It's smooth, it's paved, it's got wooden guardrails, it's
Yeah.
scenic. Um, Areas you don't have access to by car.
Yeah. And it creates jobs and just to put any infrastructure in, right? So just to put it in, but also maintain it. And so, yeah, we're very happy to have that in our backyard now, right now. Um, Great. So it sounds like you need different wheels. Just a question: does that mean you need a different bike too, or you can use the same bike and just change the wheels off?
Well, with my bike set up, I could probably put the larger tires on it. but it's more set up 25 to 28 millimeters. A gravel bike would be ideal, but a road bike with different wheels on it would be fine.
Got it. And so let's go back. You told me a story about how this kind of brought your family together. Can you tell the listeners about that and how that evolved?
Well, the group I'm with, Southern Indiana Wheelmen, we have our a big fundraising ride every year. It supports the club, and we also take some of the profits and donate to Dare to Care. Over the last few years, we managed to donate $8,000 to Dare to Care, which is a
Mm,
food bank based in Louisville. But when my son was younger, he would look forward for months to doing part of the Harvest Homecoming ride with me. And for years, we would do the shorter ride. I would do the shorter ride with him, which was 5 miles, and he absolutely loved it. He's His work schedule now doesn't allow him to ride, but as a kid, uh, he absolutely loved it. And so we got to have some, great father son time together. And of course, my
mhm.
wife was there patiently waiting. And but she's also very tolerant of me riding. She knows I like to ride, but she knows the people I ride with, and knows I'm generally careful, and I've got a good group to ride with. But I've got several friends who their wives ride. My wife has no desire to ride,
Mhm.
um, but a lot of them, they ride with their wives or they ride with their grown kids.
Got it. Yeah, and so one of the comments, we have commenters coming in saying things at times on this show, and so and it becomes a little interactive. And one's asking if you've had any experience or of people kind of hogging the path of not being playing well with pedestrians or cars, or how do you avoid that kind of thing? And bicyclists sometimes get that reputation. Where does that come from? How to, is it based in some truth? Is there, bad actors, good actors? How do you become good for for the rest of the community here?
Well, you summed up best. There's always bad actors, and of course, there's good actors. One of the more popular places around here where you have pedestrians and bicyclists is the Greenway along the Ohio River. Um, it's an area for me to cruise. I know some people like to, race on the Greenway, and to me, that's not the place to be racing. You're
Sure.
sharing it with pedestrians, families with strollers, dogs on leash. Just not the area to go fast. That's what you have, Clark County, Harrison County for. You get out in the rural areas, but just common sense when you're coming along a pedestrian, call out on your left, um, and give them lots of leeway. Cars, you have to realize, you and your bike together might weigh 200 pounds, and that car weighs 2 tons.
Hmm.
The physics are not in your favor. Be
Hmm.
polite. Uh, I know the law says you can ride, uh, you know, two riders to a lane. What our group does, we'll ride two or three riders across. We see a car, we immediately go single file and get as far over to the right as possible because our goal is to get that car away from us as quick as possible.
Hmm.
And when it's clear, we'll motion them to pass. And I've had very little trouble in Southern Indiana. I know some people have, but it's like the phrase, if you go into a bar looking for a fight, you're going to find one.
Right.
If you're out in the road, be polite to the people in the cars. They're trying to get to work or to family members or going out shopping, and the bicyclists can slow them down. But everybody be patient, take your time, and the bicyclist needs to be as responsible as the car. Stop at
Right.
stop signs, and if they do cut you off, don't flip them off and try to start an argument. Just let them go.
Right. Well, great. Are there any places here in Southern Indiana that have bike lanes within the cities or outer areas?
Um, New Albany and Louisville both have designated bike lanes.
Hmm.
Um, the problem is a lot of them are not maintained, so all the gravel, glass, sticks end up in the bike lane. They don't sweep them or maintain them,
Got it.
and then the rider has to go out into the car lane, and people get upset because hey, you're riding your bike and there's a bike lane. Well, that's because it's unsafe to ride in the bike lane. Uh,
Hmm.
municipalities need to realize that, bike lanes need to be swept and maintained, just like the roads.
Sure. So there's a maintenance aspect of that, and that probably falls on local municipalities as well as counties at times as well. And have you rode up in Bloomington at all? Are there bike lanes up there?
I've ridden around Bloomington. They have a ride called the Hilly 100,
Mm-hmm.
which has been going on probably about 50 years. And it's usually just to the west of Bloomington. It does not go through downtown Bloomington itself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's 2 days of 50-mile riding. I've done it, I guess, 15, 20 times in the past. Haven't done it recently because I've had other rides around here. Uh, Bloomington, being a college town, I would hope would have designated bike lanes. I
Yeah.
can't tell you, Dr. Tim, because I haven't ridden up there in forever.
All right. Well, next time I'm there, I'll keep my eyes out for it. John, thank you so much for your time. Tell us again how we find the Southern Indiana Wheelmen. Is there a particular bike shop that you want to call out that we can go to get started here, or bike shops? Help us get started.
Well, our base shop and club founder, Bob Peters, is Clarksville Schwinn on Lewis and Clark in Boulevard in Clarksville, Indiana. They've been around a little over 50 years. It's a great shop. It's a very popular shop. They're the club sponsor, and I know the owner, Bob Peters, very well. He's a great guy. He'll do you right, and he'll spend the time to make sure you get the bicycle you need, and hopefully what you want. And he also has clothing, helmets, shoes, etc.
Great. And then I know you're raising money again for the Wheelin soon at Harvest Hoe Cutting in New Albany. Is that right?
Well, try that again. The Harvest Homecoming Bike Ride is in Lanesville, Indiana, because originally started out in New Albany, but the very first thing you have to do is go up a 400-foot incline. For me, it's a great climb, but a lot of people, it's just very intimidating. So
Sure.
we moved it over to Lanesville because less traffic, less people. And they had the ride out of the Clarksville Heritage Site, which is great for us. And our ride, we have a little 5-mile family, little out and back trip, 20-mile ride, a 40-mile, and a 66-mile route. If you go to the Southern Indiana Wheelmen website and click on Harvest Homecoming, you can see the routes, and you can also register to ride there.
Okay.
Our ride will be in September, and hopefully we'll have good weather this year.
All right. Well, thank you, John, for your time. We're going to bring on our next guest. I appreciate you. Good to see you. And healthy riding. Thanks for showing people how we can get started. And as I said, in terms of an intervention for our health, it's 10 times better than a cholesterol pill, 10 times.
Oh, it is.
It's 20 times better than an aspirin. So we need those things too, but we can really take control of our own health just by getting on a bike.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you. All right. Officer David, thank you for joining us. We just had a good conversation about some of the bike culture here in Southern Indiana. You live across the river and in Louisville, and have a lot of experience being what colloquially we might call a bike cop or a patrol policeman. Tell us the correct way to say that. Educate us. And first, if you just introduced yourself, tell us what you do for the community, and thank you for serving.
Yeah, sure thing. Thanks for having me, first of all. Yes, my name's David Mudd. I'm chief of police for the city of Bancroft, Kentucky. It's a small home rule city in Jefferson County. And yes, I'm a bike cop. You can say bike cop, bike officer. I don't think many are going to take offense to either. That's pretty much what we say as well. But I've been a police officer for 35 years this year. and was bike certified around 1995 in Northern Kentucky. So,
okay. What does bike certified mean? How does that happen?
Well, the International Police Mountain Bike Association, which was established in 1992, started standardizing the training for police bike officers. And as they trained trainers, then departments started having training as well. They wanted to just, make sure that officers were doing things the same way, the way law enforcement kind of likes to do with all kinds of training. But certainly for reliability, but also so that officers are doing things safely.
And so police work, educate us a little bit more, but why bicycles? Why do we need them? And what type of bicycles are you using here? Are these e-bikes as well? Or just paint the picture of why we even need police officers on bicycles. Why not just cars and foot?
Sure. Well, you mentioned foot. Back in the day, before the early 20th century, foot patrols and standing posts was kind of the way most policing was done.
Right.
But with the advent of the police vehicle, cops kind of moved into cars, and that kind of put them in a room with walls and windows that separated them from the people that they see every day. So at some point, like I said, the IPMBA, the Mountain Bike Association, in the early 90s started getting us out of the cars and getting us out on something else, being the bike. Most bikes at that time and even currently are mountain bikes that are designed specifically for police use. They have the RockShox, forks and heavier duty brakes, Shimano brakes, bike racks, so you can put some gear in the back and papers or whatever else you might need to carry around. Outfitted them with lights that so that they stand out if you have to get somewhere and cut across traffic or something like that. Sure. Certainly, as we've come forward in time, now there are departments here in Louisville that are using e-bikes. Those are great. It kind of takes away from the part of the biking that is geared towards getting physically fit or maintaining physical fitness when you're using something that propels you as opposed to doing it all yourself. But, that was the idea, to break down that wall and get police back, talking face to face with people that they serve in their communities and building relationships that way, because it's just too easy in a car to wave as you go by, but you don't really interact very much.
Yeah. So say more about that. So, I mean, actually about policing in general, interacting with the community, being out there, more available. It feels like bikes get us there. Is there proof? Is there, what is the thinking about engaging community versus staying back? What does that do for our communities? How does that help us?
Well, I think it makes people in the community feel like they're more of a partner with the police to make the community safer. Instead of it, it kind of breaks down that us versus them mentality that can exist on either side, really. But, right. When you're talking to people and learning their names and hearing what their concerns are and hearing about their families, it's kind of hard to stay unattached to, having that camaraderie and feeling, like you have a relationship with that person. So that was the idea. Pretty much all community policing policies or community policing directives are going to use mountain biking, or sometimes it might be police horses or anything that gets the officer out of the car and interacting with the community on a daily basis. Yeah.
Sure. And then, so you told us about the bike training. Let's broaden out just a little bit in terms of some people when preparing for the show were interested about what does it even take to become a police officer, because it's something that most people, a lot of people have experience with, have relatives, have friends, know police officers, etc. But there are a lot of people who don't and aren't part of that community, right? So can you bring us into, what it took for you to get where you're sitting right now?
Okay. So in Kentucky, now back in the 90s, when I went through the academy, the police academy was 10 weeks of state required time in an academy with the state oversight. And then the department I was with at that time, we did an additional 12 weeks in their post academy to kind of get an idea of how they wanted things done in that city. And then, of course, after that, there's usually a FTO, field training officer period. Where I was, it was 18 weeks, 6 weeks with 3 different officers. And then you get out on your own and you start, answering calls on whatever shift they assign you to. And that's what it was then. Now, a lot of that has stayed the same, except that the academy, the state mandated part, has risen quite a bit in time. I mean, it's gone all the way up. It's one point to like 22, 26 weeks. Now, some of that's getting shifted to online to make it easier for smaller departments to have officers, not away as long. But yeah, that's generally what it takes just to get out as just a street level officer.
And then how do you get to a rise to where you are in the world?
They've, the Department of Criminal Justice Training created many other training opportunities to get people, further along. They have the Academy of Police Supervision, which is to train officers to become frontline supervisors, sergeants generally. Then they have command for more classes geared towards, rising in rank to command level and dealing, with a lot more of the administrative stuff and whatnot. They have new classes for new chiefs or new sheriffs to attend to understand what their responsibilities are and what happens. And then they have a police executive command course that's offered every year, which kind of keeps you current on, things that are, current, in the news or going on around the country. So sorry, I got a guy trimming the grass right outside my window.
That's right. We can't hear it that much, but I think, the line of the questioning there is really just to highlight how much training, but also how much upkeep you all do to make sure that you're serving the community well, and the dedication there that happens.
Right. And there's more. There's, you do firearms training anywhere from twice a year or more, depending on your department's policy. There are state laws that require officers now to take defensive driving classes on an annual basis, whether it be classroom only or, an actual class where you're going out and driving to maintain your proficiency in pursuit driving or emergency driving. There's, we have annual in-service training, which we're required to perform at least 40 hours a year. Sometimes it's more than that, just depending on what you need. But yeah, there's a lot of training involved, of course, and then that hasn't even touched on other defensive tactics training, which may involve tasers or, batons or anything like that. So. Did I lose you? Just so you know, I'm not able to hear anything right now. So.
All right, I think we're back. Sorry about that. Something happened with our internet here, but we're good. We're back. So thank you. So talking about all the training that you're doing, both training for administratively, training for firearm safety. Are there fitness standards for? Especially someone like yourself who has to be on a bike all the time that you need to meet each year, or how does that work?
Well, that is completely department related. I mean, there's no state physical fitness requirement. Like, we don't get tested every year. Now, to get hired, there are some things they test in the POPS training, with the police officer professional standards.
Right.
There are things that you have to complete. But
How many miles are you riding a day when you're biking? Are you tracking that?
Yeah, I've got a little, I've got the pedometer and everything on there, and generally, my city is quite small. I mean, that I'm actually, there to patrol about 12 streets, and not that very large at all. But so, you know, daily when I'm out on the bike, I'll probably do about 10 to 12 miles
Hmm.
of biking, and of course, then I'll use the car for various things as well. But
Right.
but about that, and I try to bike when it's before it gets hot in the summer, and after, when we hit fall, that's the best times. So
Yeah.
so
I mean, it's tremendous to have 10 to 12 miles under your belt every day for 5 days a week, and getting out there and having that health benefit while you're working. It must be amazing for the brain as well. Biking is very much shown to
yes,
increase our endorphins, increase our ability to sleep,
yes.
and help with mental health. So, do you see how, again, when did you start doing this with being on the bike?
Around 1995,
Oh, that's
96.
so long. So
Yeah,
that's so many
yeah.
miles. So you say 10 to 12 miles. I can't even do that math, right?
Right. Well, I mean, and that's not every day. I didn't mean to imply that that was
Yeah.
happening every day, but when I'm out on the bike, that's about what it is. And in those times when I'm trying to get out there, it may be, 2 or 3 times a week. So,
Okay.
um,
So
but yeah.
what does the police community need from us, everyday citizens, to help you be able to keep us safer?
Well, I
How do we
mean,
partner with you?
I think just recognizing that if you see an officer on a bike out there, this is just understanding that this is someone who's gone an extra step to try to bridge the gap, between law enforcement and the community, that can occur, sometimes, especially sometimes when there are critical events that happen in that area, and
Sure.
that this is someone who is putting themselves out there so that they can try to, try to be a partner with them, and wants to hear their input, which I think the community sometimes feels like police don't, that they don't want to talk to anybody. They don't want to, hear what they have to say, but it's generally not true. Even for cops that aren't bike cops,
Right.
the vast majority are there to, try to make this community safer.
But I like that. I mean, it changes for me already. I'm driving through town and I see a police officer on a bicycle, and now, having that image, that thought of that this is a bridge by the police officer, by the department, to come closer to our
Mhm.
community, right? To be able to look at a bike and say that's representative of that gesture. So, it's those little ways of changing the way we think and the way we see things that are so important for, greater community health. So, thank you for that. That's something I'm definitely going to take away with me. Um, okay. Thank you. Any last words that you have about being a bike cop or a patrol policeman on bike, and what we should know about this profession?
Well, the profession as a whole, I think just that, it's a very satisfying profession to know that you're out there on a daily basis trying to help people out. Now, sometimes, you're forced into the enforcement part of law enforcement, and that happens, but it's always, geared towards, making the overall community safer. Um, but that we appreciate, anytime someone comes up and says, hey, thanks, or is, appreciate seeing you out on the bike, or whatever you happen to be doing. It is appreciated, and we generally like to talk to people in the community whenever we can.
Right. All right. Well, thank you for coming on. It was great to meet you,
Yeah.
and we will do more work together as myself, and actually my congressional campaign does a lot of sponsoring of police functions that are active,
Mhm.
as I think you may know that my wife is a big runner, so wins a lot of the local races around here. We just did the Bertram 5K in Charlestown, which he won, which was exciting, and then probably gonna back to Blue in Jeffersonville in September. So fitness and helping out, making that reach of saying our police are here to help us, and what we can do to keep that relationship strong and alive is something that we're pretty passionate about here in my family. So thank you again for showing us what health and bicycling and community service looks like. So appreciate you serving.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate you having me on.
Okay. Bye. All right, everybody. So that's Dr. Tim today talking about bicycling. We're probably going to reach into elite bicycling next with Sarah Blessing, talking about finding some people actually that are associated with the Tour de France. And we are also looking for someone to talk to us about the Little 500 in Bloomington here in Southern Indiana. If someone wants to come on the show, that's a call out for a guest there. So thank you so much. Again, the key point that I want to bring here is twofold. One, the number needed to treat. So a number needed to treat is the number that we look in medicine to say, if you do this intervention X amount of times, one person will have a good outcome. So when it comes to exercise in general, weight loss in general, it has an incredible number needed to treat compared to any medicine that we might give someone. So again, if you're pre-diabetic on the verge of becoming diabetic and you lose 10 pounds through exercise or diet control, 1 out of 7 of those people just won't become diabetic and won't need insulin. And that is a life-changing thing to happen for them. And in general, biking, we see, can prevent heart disease. And you need about 80 people to hop on a bike to prevent heart disease fully versus, and many more people will have it delayed versus a cholesterol medicine, which might be 250 people need to take that medicine. So, popping pills in this country and prescribing pills in this country has a lot to do with policy and how we've written laws and how we pay for medicine in this country. Which is, if you give someone a medicine, you get paid for it, no matter if it does good or not. Well, my ideas here, my thoughts are, well, why don't we pay more around healthcare about the things that have been proven to work, like diet and exercise, and reward medical systems, health systems, and others that are able to do this, that allow us to thrive and our communities to thrive. Same goes for finding ways to allow people to bike more. So we have these communities that are doing that. How can we support them as individuals and as with policy as well? So thank you everyone for your time. Been another great Dr. Peck here, and we'll see you on Thursday talking about some solar power issues and environmentalism. So thank you everybody. Have a great day.